Hey, this is Katie Hallberg, your host of the Midlife Wife podcast. I think you're going to love this episode. It has some steps for my type A people. I'm going to give you some bullet points on how to make your best yes decisions in this time of fear. We have a lot of decisions to make. We have a lot of fear, things to be fearful of, some true fear and some made up in our head. So enjoy this episode. If you are listening at home where you can get a piece of paper, meaning you're not in the car driving, get a piece of paper, take some notes. I think you're going to love it. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you to each of you that have left me a review. It really helps me know that there's someone out there on the other side of this mic. I would love to read your 5-star review on my next episode. So if you haven't done so already, go and leave me a 5-star review. And be sure to subscribe to the show. And I also want to thank everyone. I hit a milestone. Got an email that I've had over 1,000 downloads. And when I look at it today, we're at over 1,222 downloads. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I want to give a little shout out. I have listeners. Most of my listeners are where I am in the United States, but I also have some in Canada, Ireland, Australia, and France. So, hey guys, thank you so much for listening. Welcome to the Midlife Wife podcast, where we choose to rise with courage and successfully disrupt mediocrity to live insanely significant lives that light us up, while possibly still in our yoga pants with 3-day-old hair. Are you with me? Hey, I'm Katie Hallberg, top 20% realtor, turned real estate investor and broker, a top 6% network marketer, certified personal trainer, and lover of all things from the personal growth, nutrition, and health and wellness departments. I believe when we get out of our own way and let God show up, that's where the magic happens. I'm so grateful that you're here. Let's dig into reviving your mind, body, and dreams. Y'all, there's a heck ton of fear burning like wildfire right now. We have fear of the virus, fear of the election, fear of job security, what to do. You know, the big question so many people are asking, to quote Shakespeare, to be or not to be, to send our kid to school or not to send our kid to school. That is the question, if you even have the option. The arsonist of this fire burning is fear. So what is fear? It's natural. It's powerful. It's a primitive human emotion. It involves like universal biochemical response. And it also a very like highly individual emotional response. And it alerts us, right, to danger or a threat of harm, whether that fear or that danger is physical or psychological. True fear, you guys, is a good thing. Like that fear when you see a bear on a hike. I just got back from Colorado. I didn't see a bear, but I think about it when I'm hiking. Or that little intuition, that antenna that goes off when the hairs on the back of your neck stand up because you feel like a stranger's stare. My girlfriends, women who are listening to this, you probably know that. Like if you're jogging or if you're walking back to your car at night or after work and you're just extra alert, that fear that helps you get out of a situation. Think fight or flight. There's also an acronym for fear, F.E.A.R. You've probably heard it. False evidence appearing real. And this is when our minds naturally make up stories to fill in the gaps, to finish the story, projecting into the future, right? So we will fill in what we don't know. We will write the stories. And according to Brian Clark on his post on Copy Blogger, he says, there's no true threat of immediate physical danger, no threat of a loss of someone or something dear to us. Actually, there's nothing at all. That's when we're talking about the acronym FEAR. F.E.A.R. is an illusion, something we fabricate in our minds and pretend it's real. It's a fairy tale we tell ourselves that keeps us from doing what we really want. False evidence appearing real. The common label for that is anxiety. It's less fundamental emotion that arises purely from our own thoughts, y'all. We make it up in our minds. I'm always preaching about mindset matters. So when we have a fear of making a phone call to somebody, of sending our kid to school, of going on an airplane lately during like all these fears with COVID, yes, there's some real fear. And there's also some stuff we're making up in our heads. And COVID aside, we do this and it holds us back all the time. Asking for that job promotion, even like initiating sex with your partner. There's all these things that we will go and write the end of the story based on false evidence, right? We will say, oh, I'm not qualified really to get that job promotion, or I haven't been here long enough, or I don't want to, make that phone call. What if I get rejection? Like we fill in the gaps. We make up the story, and it's all false evidence, appearing real. There has been 50 years of cognitive psychology research that demonstrates that while we can't control always how we feel, we do have the power to choose how we think and act. And that's a muscle that you have to exercise. You have to take captive every thought and make it obedient, right? It says that in a really old book. Got to take captive of every thought and make it obedient to truth. With COVID-19 still prevalent, there's a combination of fear. There's so many things to be fear about, but we have to filter out the facts and check ourselves. I recently watched a video on Good Morning America YouTube. You may have seen it, with a pediatrician speaking to this question of should I send my kid back to school? Because she's been asked like a zillion times as a pediatrician. And her answer is that there's no right answer, but to own your choice until you get new information and need to adapt. So just own your choice in the school question, own your choice in the job promotion question, own your choice on anything that you feel is holding you back with the false evidence appearing real, and just see it through. Getting ahead is uncomfortable. Making progress in life is uncomfortable. So if you're a little bit uncomfortable, you're probably on the right path. I was instantly reminded when I watched that video of that pediatrician of when I was making decisions to or not to medically transition my 16, 17-year-old at the time daughter into my son. And if you missed that information, that's on a previous episode of The Midlife Wife. I had a lot of fear in my brain. F.E.A.R, false evidence appearing real. And so for any of those feelings, you have to check, are you having false evidence? Or are you having real fight or flight fear? Are you experiencing when you're making your decision? And here's some thoughts and questions to help you answer for yourself when you're making decisions, when you're making your best yes. Mark Twain says, do the thing you fear the most, and the death of fear is certain. Y'all, that's worth repeating. Do the thing you fear the most, and death of fear is certain. We're not talking about fight or flight. We're not talking about a bear in the woods. And with COVID, it's kind of, it's a little bit of both. COVID is kind of like a bear in the woods, but it's also kind of not. We have to continue life and can take precautions. But here's what I want you to think about is follow your intuition. Are you ready for a reboot with your nutrition? Establish some healthy eating habits? Just imagine if the meal planning, the grocery list, and the supplementation was all provided for you. Would you like me as a coach to help you and hold you accountable and support you? If you are like heck to the yes, the 30 Days to Healthy Living program is for you. It will help you tune into the messages that your body is sending so that you can eat and drink more intuitively, giving your body the nutrients that it needs to function optimally. The program will also help support a balanced gut. So much of the body's overall well-being is controlled by our gut. So supporting this area of our body will help optimize how we feel as well as how we look. The program is also designed to help us feel more confident in ourselves. When we are rested and working to reduce feelings of stress, then we are better able to care for ourselves. Wouldn't you agree? A positive mindset can also impact our confidence because when you feel good physically and mentally, you look good too, girl. Registration is open and there's a link in the show notes. Of course, you can go to the midlifewifepodcast.com and look under resources and the health stuff. With a 45-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Your intuition. You have it. Don't tell me you don't have intuition. It's that inner knowing, the whisper. Or in the example of the creepy stranger I just gave you, you know, when you're walking in the alley back to your car at dark, you just know it in your gut. You just have a sense. You have a feeling. So many times females are like, oh, I just need to be nice to the stranger. But you have an intuition that guy's creepy or that situation is not safe. It can be difficult to hear. It can trump the intuition if you're disconnected with yourself. So follow your intuition. That's my number one advice. Number two, think about how your decision will make you feel after the fact. Think about how your decision will make you feel after the fact. Will you have peace? Will your decision cause harm to anybody? And physically, emotionally, or spiritually? Like really, really think that through. Think through this, because you could not decide, and that's a decision, but you have the choice of decisions and all sorts of things. So decide what you want to do. And number three, that goes right along with number two, is to actually take out a physical piece of paper and make what I have learned. It's called a decision tree. A decision tree. Physically on paper, draw a line down the middle, just a piece of notebook paper, and write all the pros, the positivity, the positive outcomes, the positive things of the decision on one column, on one side of the paper. And probably write what the decision is about on the top. And then all the negatives or the cons on the other side of the line. And this is a brainstorming exercise. It's active. And I would involve the adults or people you trust in this. You can do it by yourself, and you can also, the words are hard right now, ask someone to help you, like a trusted adult to help you with that. And even the kids, if it's a kid decision with school, involve the people that the decision is about if you can. I had an example of this when I was wanting to divide or sell a piece of ranch land I inherited. It was inherited from my mom, and she passed away at 56 years old. And I had owned it for 10 years, co-jointly with cousins and a brother. And that was a really tough decision. And I physically sat down at a restaurant after a meeting with all the owners, with my husband and I, and just kind of weighed out the pros and cons. What if I keep it? What if I sell it? To sell or keep was the question. And so that was really helpful. And number four, look down the road. Look down the road, project in the future, and ask yourself, will this matter in a year? Will this matter in a year? Will it matter if you get a job promotion or not, and you ask for that promotion? Will it matter if your kid goes back to public school or not? Will it matter in a year's time? A year's time is really not that long in the scheme of your life, I pray. And so ask yourself, what are really the outcomes? I had to do that again with that child that's transgender, was just having meltdown, mental health problems, of course. And we chose to take him out of school. And I had to wrestle with, will it matter if they miss a whole year of school or semester of school, in their lifetime? Will it really matter? And it doesn't. To me, my answer was it didn't. It might be different for you, but for me it didn't. And they didn't miss a semester or a year of school. But I had to look down the road. Does it matter? And number five, seek guidance. Seek guidance from God, your higher power. Meditate on it, pray on it. And that kind of loops back to number one, your intuition and that quiet whisper, that voice. Okay, ladies, once you've made your decision, be confident in it. Let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. All right. Just have some resolve, have some peace, that you have made your best yes, your best decision based on the information you have right now. Have peace. Be grateful. Throw gratitude. Like, I'm so grateful that I decided blank. I'm so grateful that I made that phone call. I'm so grateful. And expect greatness from it. Expectation. Expect it. Throw that positive energy into the universe of great expectation that your decision was the right decision for you. And if later down the road you get some new information and you need to reevaluate, you need to pivot, you need to redecide, you need to recommit in some different perspective, you have my permission, not that you need it, to make a change. That's what I'm doing with school. With one of my kids, I have decided to send them to school after the school opens, which is on a delayed start. But I fully own the choice that I can change my mind. If new information comes out, illnesses rise, I'm going to pivot. I want to leave you with some encouragement because y'all, that's really like my gifting. I'm a cheerleader. Y'all, life is fluid. Life is a cycle. Just like the seasons, summer, winter, spring, and fall, the days, the sun, the moon, hours, apparently even global viruses are a cycle. They come and go. They come again, they go again, like the ocean waves, the zodiac seasons, women physically, we cycle monthly, and we just need to be flexible. Like Tanya Tucker sings, we need to be like that tree out in the backyard. We have to be strong enough to bend. Now, before you go, if you found value in today's episode, if you connected with something or felt inspired in any way, pretty please take a screenshot for me and post it up in your Instagram and Facebook stories, and be sure to tag me, because together we can inspire, encourage, and empower others to live amazing intentional lives. Yes, we can. Let's do it.